Hello and welcome back. I'm Claire Zhao, your virtual MC, and I'm super excited to welcome you all back to a very, very special session. We just had an amazing group of panelists speak on climate change, and we'll now pivot to a discussion showcasing Amit Sevak, the newly announced CEO of ETS. I'm honored to be in your presence. I know this was a recently announced news. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you, Claire.
I'd love to share with our virtual audience. I know we have over about 8,000 plus of you tuning in across the 3 days, and I think 70 plus countries represented. But I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself, your background.
Great. Well, thanks. It's great to be on this show. I am originally from Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago, went to college there. And then my parents are originally from India, and they came to the US for education, like so many other immigrants. I've been in education now for 20 years, a mix of nonprofit and corporate experience in education. And about 10 of those years were outside of the US and about a decade in the US.
Awesome. And so I know you touched a little bit on it, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about why education specifically, where that passion came from.
You know, I'd love to start with my grandparents. Both of my grandfathers were teachers back in India. And they really instilled that value in their kids, and that really passed on to me. I just have always believed in the incredible life-changing power of education. It just changes lives, not just here in the US, but throughout the world. And so I've been fortunate to be the recipient of just some great educators, from elementary and middle school teachers all the way to college and beyond. And today, I've got this wonderful group of mentors that day in and day out provide that kind of support. So education changes lives, and so I feel honored to be able to serve in an organization that is focused on that.
I love that. I love that you mentioned how, you didn't just touch on your early experiences, but how even today, even in your role, education is so important. And I think a big theme of ours here is, pre-K to grade learning. So to touch on the announcement, I'd love to hear why ETS. What is it about this specific organization that you're drawn to?
Why ETS? Claire, I feel called to ETS's mission. ETS's mission is focused on advancing equity and quality in education through assessments. And sometimes assessments can sound like a mundane topic, right? It's a test. But really, at the end of it, it's the way we measure progress in education. And in the world that we live in today, and in this amazing conference that we're in today, so much of the excitement around ed tech and innovation, one of the key questions is around how do we measure progress in education, whether it's in K-12 or higher ed or workforce development. And so to me, I find assessments is where education meets data. And it's that intersection that provides the incredible opportunity to really show meaningful learning outcomes, to compare one institution to another, one program to another, and for an individual to feel empowered that I'm learning by seeing that progress through summative or formative assessments.
That is so powerful. I love how you kind of shape that and phrase that. And I know because of that, ETS is involved in a lot in the education space. What are you personally most excited for that ETS is currently working on or going to work on in the future?
There are so many aspects to ETS. ETS is an organization that every year, Claire, serves 50 million students. We're in 180 countries, deep in the United States, but in many countries throughout the world, in China, India, Latin America, the Middle East. And so one of the things that is so exciting about ETS is that there's so many opportunities to expand access to education. ETS is famous for the TOEFL offerings and the related TOEIC and TOEFL Essentials. It's famous for the GRE. It supports the development of so many other programs around the world, such as AP tests. And so one of the things I'm really excited about is that many of those core offerings have huge areas of opportunity for growth and innovation. So I believe that there's many things that we can do with the core offerings. At the same time, there's some amazing new areas of opportunity of where ETS's longstanding tradition of excellence in assessments can be applied. One of those areas, to give you an example, is lifelong learning. So much of the assessment world is focused on K-12 and higher ed. We remember when we were in school, we took tests. But then when you become an adult and you're out there working, we don't really know how we're measuring progress. So for us, we're really excited about the opportunity for workplace skills assessments and the opportunity to help companies, to help individuals like us
Yeah.
see where we are in a particular skill set, particularly soft skills, and look for opportunities to help those organizations measure and monitor and help really support learners on their journey to develop their lifelong skills.
That's awesome. I think you guys really touch on so many things that we even cover at our summit, everything obviously from K-12 to higher ed to workforce and beyond, but also thinking about mobility and education as vehicle for that. I'd also love to touch on, I think you mentioned, your very global reach, just really quickly on kind of how you see access and equity being a key role in ETS's mission.
Access and equity is everything for us. ETS was founded in 1947 exactly on that mission. It was founded by a group of institutions that were looking to find a more diverse and broad way to reach new students. And so the initial premise of creating assessments was to provide opportunities for these quality institutions to find talent throughout the world. That same ethos still exists today. And so for us, every day we think about equity and inclusion. We think about opportunities for access, not just in the US context, but globally. And so for us, there's so many areas that we can work on. And I think we're all after the same thing, which is to help people, whatever their background is, to get ahead in life through education. So it's incredibly important to our core.
That's amazing. I know we're coming up on time here, but thank you so much, Amit. This has been an awesome conversation. I'm leaving feeling inspired. I'm excited by what you and the rest of the ETS team will do. And in the meantime, I do want to introduce our Spotlight channel. We will have next session, which is the risk of lost human potential to the future of the world, which is a very good segue to this conversation. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Claire.